we have great people tonight who are going to be showing their favorite tools. I always like to kick off the new season here at Craftcast with an I Love Tools type of thing. This actually came because I used to watch Carol Duvall. Anyone out there who remembers the Carol Duvall show? And my favorite day was when she did all the products, because where else could you see anyone using them? And I just thought it was such a great thing. And then one day, actually, talking to Mr. Patrik Kusek, who's on tonight, we came up with an idea to do a virtual book signing party thing, show things kind of thing. And it caught on, and we love it. So it's become a tradition here at the Craftcast studio to host that kind of event. So there you go. Nice. And I'm so excited to see all you coming back on and seeing all your names. Yeah, that's so cute. Someone just did a full I Love Tools with a heart. You are talented in that chat box there, JL. Very cute. So tonight, who do I have? Well, I'm going to name them up. I have Christi Friesen, applause.
Yay!
Cynthia Tinapple, more applause.
Yay.
Kate Richbourg, Patrik Kusek, Sarah Shriver, Seth Savarick, and Suzanne McNenly. We have stuff to show you that you're going to just want from everything, from the small to the big. So there you go. And people who are just coming on, yes, as you come in, you are muted. You can use the chat box because I can't unmute everyone. That would be it. And let's see, Sarah, just pull your mic a little bit more away from it's so sensitive, your mic. It picks up your breathing.
I actually was muted. I just unmuted myself.
Oh, then it's someone else breathing.
I'm breathing. That's what I'm saying.
It's someone else. It's
I
not
held
you.
my breath to see if it was me, but it's
not
not.
you.
I muted me because I could hear it too, and I thought, is that me? But then I turned me off. And
it's not you.
Hold your breath and see. That's what I did, but it's not me either.
Oh, man. It's a mystery person.
Okay, sounds like embarrassed if it's me.
Now I don't hear it. So we will hold our breath the whole time.
Maybe it was me. I don't know. I muted me again, and then you didn't hear it, so I don't know.
Okay.
I'm breathing heavy right now, and I'm not hearing it.
No.
All
right, I can tell I got to start. I got to get this party started. All right, so let me open some things. Just so you know, when we do live events, we haven't all been drinking as much as everyone seems to have been drinking tonight. We are much more organized.
Probably.
A little bit. But let me tell you a little bit about the videos you see. Depending on how great your connection is, your video connection, they can look sort of animated, run a little bit slower. When you take a live class, that can happen, but everyone always gets the fully souped up, wonderful, perfect copy of a video afterwards. It's one of the things you get, which you will also get tonight, signing up for tonight, free as well. That's why I'm really hoping you'll also, when you get the email, buy some raffle tickets so we can raise lots of money to get tools for these lovely women in Nepal who have also donated things for tonight. So that's the deal. So to kick off the night, Ms. Christi Friesen, I can't even remember, Christi, what? Oh, patinas. I love these patinas.
Yes,
I'm in love with patinas. Okay, so first off, we're going to watch you, and you're going to give a little, everyone has goodies, so jot some notes down here.
Right.
Some coupons here. So I'm going to run your video. And there she is in the flash. You see, we don't use sound off these videos.
Such as it is.
Yes. So Ms. Christi likes to do sign charades here, which is, now watch, we get 10% cheaper off the fun products
Make it metal,
tonight.
make it amazing. 10% off. Oh, my God.
Which we all love our coupons.
The coupon code, la, la, la.
So write that one down.
Right.
And again, you will get
wait
all
for
of
the
these
email.
later. Yeah, or wait for the email. Now, I just want to say, I bought a whole bunch of these, and they are pretty fabulous, but I'm so excited to learn more about them now. So I'm going to start this video.
I think many people bought them all and are waiting to be excited. Here are all of them. There are metals and dyes and other things. We're going to talk about each and every one of those other things. This is metals, so there's 5 of them: bronze and copper. And we should be getting silver and brass and iron. And they all are finely pulverized metal suspended in like an acrylic base, so it goes over your pieces well. This is prep to start off the things with, and sealer to end the things with, and then dyes to color it with. And all of these little goodies help you create an aged metal look on top of anything. I'm a polymer gal, so you can see these are some of the polymer pieces that I've made, and I'll hold them up close so you can kind of see the effects. You get a very realistic, believable metal, aged metal look, but it can go on paper clay, epoxy clay, obviously polymer clays. You can go on other kinds of metals, paper, wood, just about any material, styrofoam, it doesn't matter. But the nice thing, obviously, in using polymer is, ooh, look at that rust, isn't that pretty? Is that you can make your pieces with an inexpensive material like polymer and then add a very fun metal look to them, rather believably, which just floats my frickin' boat. So here's some of these little fun things to see what they look like. Yeah. So, and I love the age. The patinas on here are beautiful because they're real. You're putting a real metal coating, and it's flexible, so it also goes on things like fibers and leathers and things like that. In fact, this is what we're going to talk about on this particular one. All the fun stuff you can put it on. I've got a little strip of metal, I've got some wood, I've got polymer, I've got a shell, and then there's your lineup of metal and showing you the different effects that are going to be ready to rock and roll, which is what we're going to do next. But it's really is quite fun. The company that makes the original product makes it for the professional and industrial artist, and I worked with them to do it smaller for us crafty folk because we don't need pints and gallons and quarts of everything. So I'm just kind of pointing out a couple of different items here. Like I said, the leather and the shells and paper. I mean, it goes directly on all kinds of goodies. Prep is a new product in the lineup. It's very thick, like a kind of like painting with Elmer's glue, and it just allows you to completely coat a surface like polymer that is a little bit more resistant to things soaking in to give the metal a really good grab. So one of the things that I found with polymers after you paint it, that was what I was doing, painting with the prep, which is just a way of getting it ready, and then you dry it. And then after you've done that, you're going to paint it with whatever metals. And I, of course, cheated while you weren't looking and put several coats of it on there because you put a couple coats to fill it up. Now, I'm just painting it on here because the patinas need to react with a wet metal in order to get the good oxidation, just like your car is going to oxidize and rust in the jungle a lot faster than it rusts in the desert. Same idea. You wanted to have it wet before you put the the patinas on there. And all this information, there's a free download on my website. You can access it there. And obviously now you have this little free thing to remind you. But that was one of the 3 patinas that are come in the set. One makes things darker. The other 2 make them oxidize, either rust or a verdigris, whichever metal you picked. In this particular instance, it's going to do a green verdigris. And I'm just kind of flooding the moist metal with the patina. It's a messy thing. Messy is fun. Embrace your chaos with this process. If you want to try and control it, good luck with that. Basically, you just dump it on and see what happens, and then you manipulate what happens because nature's going to do its thing, and then you get to finesse nature. So the first effect, I'm just showing that you could use a sponge if you preferred to put the stuff on there with. I prefer a brush just so I can control it better. First, it's going to look sort of like sewage. And then it's going to look like pond scum if you do that. If it looks like that, you're doing it right. And I'm just showing you a little trick here. Rust is a tricky little booger. So if you keep a nice little humidifier of wet paper towel on it, look at how that rusts up. Isn't that nice?
Do you know what I love is
how drop it because it's so heavy.
How excited we get over rust. Most people try to avoid it, but not this group.
No, baby. We want more rust, more crunch. So I love that. And it's a real rust. I mean, it is just all kinds of crunchy, which I just love. So this is after all the patinas worked. I've dropped some dyes in there too. That's what the blue is. We'll talk about that in a minute. And I'm showing you a couple of different ones. You see how algae, pond scum that all looks? That's what you want.
I love
you
that.
want it to just do its thing. Patina blooms however it wants. You
That's beautiful.
can't manipulate that very well. You just kind of have to let it do its thing. Then we get into the fun stuff, which if you were working with a metal and you put your patinas on the metal, you would polish or grind off the patina. But since it's such a thin coating and you'd be down to your substrate too quickly, we're going to go the other way around and add a dry brush on the top. So this is just showing you the patina action that's happened with that little trick you saw earlier. So you can see the green in there. If I left this overnight, that green would get even more intense. But you can stop the action by rinsing it or putting it in the oven. And again, here's that rust. Doesn't that just look freaking delightful? I love the rust. Yeah. So anyway, so we've got the green patina. Now, it's very grungy looking. You might want a bit more of the metal look. You might not want it to look like you just dug it up out of the ground. So if so, I'm just going to use a dry brush technique. So now you are watching paint dry. How exciting is that? All I'm doing is taking a little bit of the Swelligant Brass, which is the original color on that heart, and I'm just going back and forth on a porous piece of paper to dry it out, get it kind of tacky, and I'm just going to dry brush right over the surface. And all that's doing is putting another little layer on the top so that your patinas are peeking out from all the cracks and crevices like they would do in nature, and then your brassy business is right up on top again. And you can mix and match. I could have put silver on there. I could have, combined more than one metal. You can't wreck it. You really can't wreck it. If something happens weird, you just put something else on top. For example, here's the copper. And it's already got its patinas and its various things working on there. I'm just showing you kind of all the little grungy business there. And I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use the dye. The dye is also a patina. It's just a colored patina, and it allows the metal to be tinted sort of from the inside out. So instead of putting something on the surface like you would do with acrylic paint or alcohol ink, which you can use with this product, by the way, it's a dye that soaks into and makes a very organic tinting. It's translucent, it's water-based. All of these products are non-hazardous, non-toxic, water wash up with soap and warm water. So they're good stuff, very to no odor. So you can use them in your studio without, all the stuff that comes with many chemicals. So I picked and chose the line specifically for that. But here's an almost mishap. Here's some blue, and I'm going to dabble that on there too, just to show you. I'm putting the dyes in a patinaed piece. It's got the metal. I added the patina. I'm sticking some dye on. You see how it's just like soaking right in and absorbing right on there. And then I can blot it off, or I can dry brush over the top. On this particular one, I'll just blot it. And you see how it kind of soaks down in there? And once it dries, that blue will be in the cracks and crevices. Another swipe of metal if I wanted to pop it. You just keep playing. You keep adding layers and throwing patina on and just, here's the swipe over. So now you can see, look, just that hint of metal on the top.
Love it.
Don't that look pretty?
I love it. I'm a patina
too.
freak right now. So
it's a hot ticket. It really is. And we've all kind of discovered it all at the same time, of just mixed metals.
It's crazy. I just have to cover everything.
Oh, you do. And now look at this trick. This is mica powder. Mix mica powder with water. Brush it over the surface. It soaks right into the metal and leaves it like a Roman glass effect. So you get this crazy opalescence on top of everything else. So you see, I'm just kind of brushing water out of mica on there.
That is fabulous.
Isn't that freaking nifty cool?
Yeah.
So anyway, there's just an awful lot of fun you can have with all of these things. And it seems a bit complicated at first because now which order do I what?
Yeah.
And I thought I'd throw you here. Some of you already work with metals. These patinas are made, they're patinas, they're actual patinas. They're made to work on metal dyes. They're what the big boys use to color metals. So you can use them with your metal clays and your other actual metal. These are metal filigrees. I just plopped it in, put the lid on, and shake it around a bit and let it do its thing, and then you pull it out in about 10-15 minutes and let it sit around for a bit, and look, you've got all of that nice beautiful oxidation on there already, which is just yum-ola. And you can add some more paint to the tips of it. I put some silver on the tips of this and dye down in the center. So yeah, you can go directly on your metals as well. So you got lots of fun to play with. It's just
overwhelming.
It is. It is.
It's playtime.
And I think that's why so many of us bought all the whole set, and then now we're just I just want to wait.
Yeah.
But I just want to tell people to jump right in, because it really, you can't wreck it. I mean, you don't like something, you just paint it again. And the only thing you have to remember on all of this is that the patinas work on wet metal. So you have to have a moist coating of metal. That's all you need to know. And look at all that terrific different kinds of looks that you can get, all those fun little metal business. So anyway, I hope as a tool, I found it to be a way of adding a very realistic metal look to my polymer sculpting. So I'm hoping that the rest of the artists out there listening in, which whatever medium you play with, that you might consider. Obviously, it has applications for doll makers, anybody who does painting. This goes directly on canvas and fabrics of all kinds. It goes on any kind of wood, paper products. So there's an awful lot of application for this.
Yeah, that's all right. Let me take a few questions. We have a few more minutes.
Yes,
I love
absolutely.
Gwen. Gwen just wrote, "Be still my heart." I feel the same way, Gwen. I'm just saying.
That is so how I felt like Gwen when I kind of discovered the stuff, and
it's a lot
had to end up
in.
doing this for these sizes because they only made them in larger sizes, and the company was really good to work with me on making it, into smaller bite-sized containers. So
we're all into patinas. Okay, this is a good question, Melly. Is it good for metal clay after it's fired?
Yes,
yeah, because that's
it is.
metal, right?
Yeah, it is. So all the patinas and dyes work on metal clay, and for the dyes to tint metal clays, you are going to want to just heat it up like with a little not a torch, but a heat gun, just to open those pores of the metal up so that the dyes can soak down in. There's a couple tutorials out there. If you go to, I have a Facebook page, a Swelling It Facebook page, and people are posting all kinds of experiments they're doing, the way they've played with it, how they're, tinting chain with it, and, blah, blah. So there's an awful lot of info out there.
Margaret Rose, this stuff is so seriously cool. It's like,
It is,
oh,
right?
Here's we have time to just do a few more questions for this.
Okay.
Does it have an expiration on it?
I think it's like any other paint. If you've got it in a cool craft room and it's away from, extremes of heat or cold, it's going to last indefinitely, like an acrylic paint would. I think each time you open it and expose it to air, it's going to tend to get thicker like paint would, but you can dilute it with distilled water. And so if it starts to get a little thick, just put a little more water in it and keep it going. But I've had mine here for a couple of years, and I do not do any of the things I tell people to do, and they're all great. So they do real well.
And do you seal yours? Lorene wanted to know, do you seal it with something at the end?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Especially if you're going to wear it, if it's a sculptural piece, I don't usually bother. But if you're going to wear it, you've got actual oxidation, so you don't want that rubbing all over you. So there is a sealer that comes with the set. But I've also found that PIM, which is the Preserve Your Memories, it's a spray coating, and it is beautiful for not only this product but polymer clay and other products as well. I sell that on my website too. You can find it other places, but the sealer that I have with the set is flat, so that if you've got a rusted object, you don't want it shiny, so that sealer will just lock and load that without any shine. PIM has just a tiny bit of satin, which is delightful when you want a more metallic look, so both of those work fabulous.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, but do seal it because it'll just protect everything.
Makes sense. Let me just take one more question. I saw some other ones in here.
I know, there's probably a lot of questions.
Is it good on leather?
Yeah, you know what I found? I didn't realize this, but since it's in an acrylic type base, it's flexible, just like if you painted leather with acrylic paint, how it would flex and move with your leather. So if you're doing leather masks or a steampunk outfit or whatever, you can pop this sucker right on there and it's not going to flake off. It's movable and flexible. It's fabulous.
Love it. And the Facebook page again is what people want to know.
It's just it's Swelling It.
Swelling It
Facebook. Mm-hmm.
And the coupon code to get 10% off, I'm putting it in everyone's chat box right now, is CraftCast10. So go buy. I know it's cool. Yep. Now listen, I have something. Thank you so much, Christi.
Thank you, darling,
for giving us some explanation. Everyone wants some. Now I want some. Yeah, I know. I'm telling you. I have stuff. I'm just telling you. Go buy it. I just don't know what else to tell you.
It really is fun.
It's very satisfying working with these
It is. Blooming patina is nifty because it's something out of your control. So it's like creativity is happening while you're watching, which is neat because it takes you to new places.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's just kind of fun.
It is great fun. And now I just want to say we have Nepal in the house tonight. Yes, we do.
Woo-hoo.
We have them on the line. Wendy is on.
Hey, Wendy!
Yes, and I am so excited. We're all saying a big hello to you guys, and we're thrilled that you made it on tonight and you can enjoy.
Yes, how fun.
I think Wendy was just saying that to hear your voice. Cynthia, what is the
Coppola?
Coppola. I think it's Coppola. I'm trying to find in the chat box again. To hear Christi's voice, that's fun for her because I never. Yeah, baby. So I think it's
yeah, baby.
And Wendy Cole was on. She's in the audience, and she was on that. She's been to visit the Salmonette ladies too.
Oh, really?
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Oh,
that's
how
exciting.
fun.
Well, we have a whole necklace thing going on with them
Yes.
all over the world,
really,
so
really.
that's quite fun too.
It's quite fun. So how fun is it we can all be online here enjoying crafts too is what I love. So we're going to now give away a Flourish book. We're going to have a picture of your book somewhere.
It's a good one. Chock full of goodies.
It is. I definitely have enjoyed my copy. Here's a picture of it right here.
And there is a good little section on using the Swelling It metals too, so it kind of explains it.
There's tons of ideas in there.
Pictures. There's a lot in that book. I'm very pleased with it. So I'm
There's
excited for whoever gets it that they'll get to do things.
And you guys, there's also a fabulous Craftcast video on how to make one of the fantasy necklaces.
Yeah,
so it's all in there too. So definitely go check that out as well. All right, so I'm just going to, Christi, you pick a number from 1 to 357.
272.
Okay, we have Patty Waitley.
Patty,
you're going to get a book,
congrats.
so make sure you
Woo.
email me. I'm going to write that down, and you're going to get a book. How much fun is that? So we are having some other giveaways that are not even the biggies for the raffle tickets.
Yay,
so
cool.
fun. All right, thank you, Miss Christi. We are now going to move on. Oh, we just have more fun. You think you got revved up with that? Just wait now. What's going to happen? Now we have Ms. Cynthia Tinapple from Palmer Clay Daily. I know so many of you are familiar with that. And woohoo is right. Cynthia, wait, you have JPEGs here too that I want to make sure that we show. Let me just get those.
Well, I'm just introducing this because I want to see what everyone else does with it.
Yes, one of the prizes that we're giving away, this machine, the cutter machine. All right, I'm going to start running this. Cynthia, you take it away and you tell everyone what we're going to do.
Okay. Well, we're talking about the silhouette machine, and there's a silhouette portfolio, which is a little smaller, and there's this one. And I went out on Google and just grabbed an image from Google Images, and I'm selecting the one I like. This is a Matisse image, and I thought, oh, let's try this. And I'm outlining it. Now I'm going to toss away the artwork. I don't need that anymore. And the machine has scanned and outlined the one I wanted. Now I'm going to clean up a little bit of it, delete some of that extraneous stuff, and delete. And really, while I'm doing this, I'll tell you, Mags Bonham knows more about this than I do. She's the one who showed me what she was doing with it, and I thought, oh, this is so cool. So, and Brother has come out with a model too, but I'll tell you about that later. So I'm just sort of cleaning up the edges. You can, if some things didn't quite, they have little jags or points on them, or you want to change it somehow, you just move the points around. And then I can duplicate it. I decided I wanted to make a pair of earrings, so I'm going to duplicate it. But then I realized I want it to be flipped the other way, so...
Don't you love when you realize that before you make the second one?
Yeah, really. Watch me correct my mistake here. Get rid of that one. Move this one up. Now I'm going to put them together in a group so that they're the same size when I shrink them down. And I'm going to shrink it to what I think is earring size. Those lines there are 1-inch lines, so I just want about, I guess it's just about an inch. And then I use a 4-card thick piece of polymer and put it in the machine on a piece of freezer paper so that you can pick it up again. And it did it faster.
Yep,
fast. Really fast there. And
okay,
it's
it takes
easy
a few
to pull out.
longer.
Yeah, really. And it cuts it out of the polymer.
Cynthia,
and
are those unbaked?
Yeah, okay. Those are unbaked. This is unbaked polymer.
How cool is that?
And actually, to make those earrings, because number 4 is so thin, I made 2. Put them two
cool.
wet ones, unbaked ones, put them on top of each other with the metal hook in between.
Oh, smart.
And baked it that way. And but this is only the beginning. As Christine Dahm pointed out to me, you could do this with a scalpel. Maybe Christine could do it with a scalpel. That's Mags. That's what Mags was demoing at a conference. And but at any rate, you could do it with a scalpel, but it's really interesting. If you go online, there are hundreds of videos of what people are doing with this. And I'm not really interested in the, buying templates and things, but what I am interested in is taking my own work and, making it intricate and cutting out things.
Right.
That would be difficult with polymer. And lots of people are using them also with, heavy, like vinyl,
Material.
like overhead projector slides, whatever that stuff is called. And making their own templates. They're doing, physical templates.
No, it's one of those machines, and I know Suzanne is on. We're hopefully in spring we'll do a basic course on how to use this machine, because what we've all learned is it's very overwhelming when you open the box to try and figure out how to use it. But then you get hooked on it.
Out there.
Yeah, it's
right. And also, Brother has come out. The Brother company has come out with their version of this. Theirs is called a scan and print or something like that. But it's got the scanner and the printer all together.
Everyone's freaking out who hasn't seen this before. I know you guys. It's a lot to take in. Does it work with vector images? Will it accept from other vector?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. You can, I think, and Suzanne, didn't you tell me this? Yep. You can open up from Photoshop and bring it in, or was that Juan?
Yeah, you can just do I do SVG files from Illustrator, so I'm sure if Photoshop can save them like that, yes, you can.
You can open up other. Yeah,
you need the designer version.
Yeah, someone just said, "Shut the front door." I'm telling you, it's a lot.
It's shut.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Oh, Vicki, yes, it cuts metal clay. There's a class over at the craftcast.com. Oh, it's frightening.
A dynamite class.
It is a good class. Crazy.
Yeah, and I don't even do metal clay.
Yeah. No, it's pretty crazy. Wait, let me just see. Can you use it with baked polymer clay? I don't think so, right? That's too thick, baked, right?
Well, give me another.
Never say never.
Never say never, right? Yep, there you go.
Yeah.
It's so cool to use. Well, yes, Gwen, with your own work, it is fabulous, but you do get a $10 coupon in that box. And then you go to the little store and you can buy some of the templates. So I bought one that was an amazing happy birthday. So it was cut out so intricately. And I did it for my man. And then I handed it to him. And he's like, wow. I said, yep, I cut it out. And he's an architect. So he looked at it and he was really impressed. I didn't tell him it was a machine. So there you go.
Yeah,
because he thinks I only use X-Acto blades.
Yeah, it'll take any typeface too. So any type you want to cut out.
Any type. No, it's
cool.
crazy. It's crazy to sort of use. It really does everything.
But that's I really have only not even scratched the surface. But I want to see what everybody else does with it.
Oh yeah, it's got so
much
much
I don't
potential.
have to work so hard.
Yeah. Let's take one more question here. I thought was good. The freezer paper. Did you put it on the cutting mat that comes with it, Cynthia?
The cutting mat is kind of a sticky surface to hold things.
Yep.
So if you put clay right on that sticky surface, you'd still be scraping it off.
Right.
But if you put the freezer paper down first, somehow you fiddle with the settings, and the cutter does not cut through the freezer paper, but it does cut through the clay. You just kind of finesse it a bit, and it really works. I was amazed when I saw Mags do it, so I had to try it myself.
Right. I've seen it. I've seen it, and there's some people that are really good, like Suzanne, who's on, and like Winery Tanner. I'm telling you, if you're interested in this, you can come over and get that video as well. It is very exciting. I mean, it's just another fun tool, and you can cut out paper. You can cut so many things out. It's sort of crazy. So,
oh yeah. It's coming soon.
Yes, Winery uses contact paper. Yep, she does. Wait, one more question.
She does. Oh.
Freezer paper under and over the clay, or just under?
No, just under.
Just under.
Just under.
Well, that's pretty darn exciting. All right, so now tell everyone about what you have coming up.
Oh, I have my own line of extruder discs coming out.
Cool.
Because there were some missing from my set, and I kept having my son cut them out on his laser printer, or what do you call that? Well, you know what I mean.
A metal cutter.
And so he finally said, do
Make
it yourself.
Right.
So anyway, there are things that I think are missing. I love extruding, and there are things I think are missing. So stay tuned. These will be available soon.
Oh,
and there is a live class coming up in November, or December. I don't have it right in front of me. November, with Cynthia live here at the Craftcast studio, doing amazing extrusions. crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Cool.
such beautiful stuff
Fun
that
stuff.
looks like fabric and
This is
stuff.
close to my heart.
It is just really,
Wow.
really fabulous. So
It's beautiful.
now you have a book to give away too, right?
Yes, I do.
Polymer clay,
Polymer
another
clay.
goodie. Another goodie. Oh,
Global
look, there's
Perspectives.
It's
Yes.
great. Very good book.
beautiful
Thank
things
you.
on the cover here
Yeah,
too.
I think it gives people a wide perspective. Yeah.
It does. It does. And if you want to learn how to make one of those, whose is that right there? Isn't that
Yeah, that's a class that you have. The
Yeah.
Spinner Hearts.
Tasia Floyd, is that her
Yes.
name?
Yes. Tisha Floyd. There's a class there you can learn. I love that. That looks beautiful too on the cover. Anyway, okay, so let's pick a number. Cynthia, we have from 1, and we have to skip the first 10. We can't win. So from 10 to 373.
Oh, I'm
You're picking. Mhm.
14.
14. Going way back, I was much farther down. Charlotte Tyler. Charlotte Tyler, you just won a book.
Ooh, Charlotte.
Congratulations.
Woohoo!
And Charlotte, I might be a bit slow because I'm on vacation and I have to find the post office around here.
Oh, there you
I
go.
brought it
She's
with
out in
me,
the
but I
boonies.
don't know where the post office is.
So there you go.
So
So send me
your.
You can send it to me and I'll forward it off to you.
Okay. Yeah.
Because then it'll be quick there and
Okay.
find it there. So Charlotte just wrote, "Oh my God, yeah, isn't that fun? Isn't that fun to win something? Love to win something." So thank you so much, darling, for showing us another thing to get hooked on.
It's my.
That's what we
my
like
stock
to do.
and trade.
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, that's what I love to do too. It's like, wait, you got to see this. Come on over here. So, all right, coming up next. Wait, I think I already have yours up. I do, Ms. Kate. Ms. Kate Richbourg is going to show how to solder. So many people want to do this. Kate has a class coming up, I think hers is in December, of how to do soldering and even a little more than just the basic. It's a blast. It's another thing to get addicted to. So you're going to just see a quick little demonstration tonight about the process. So you have an idea of what's going on. I'm going to run this video. All of you who don't know Kate have to get to know her. So we're looking at a little copper. Yes. We're looking at a little copper jump ring there.
Yes. And so this is just some simple jump ring soldering. So you can see, you guys, I'm working on a little soldering surface there, a little solderite board. And that's just a copper jump ring. It's probably about 16 or maybe 14 gauge, I think. And you can see I'm extolling its virtues as I'm pointing to it lovingly. And I'm going to use some paste solder. Thanks for laughing at that one. I'm going to use some paste solder. And you guys, paste solder rocks my world. And I'm going to be doing this in the class that's going to be coming up on CraftCast. We're going to use some of this paste solder. The thing that I really like about it, you can see I'm going ahead and placing it on the join on my jump ring, and I'm using a titanium solder pick to place it. And you know, paste solder, it's like paste, right? It just sticks right on, and it already has the flux mixed in with the solder, so it's like a one-step process. So I'm not cutting little pieces of metal, I'm not painting on flux, I'm just coaxing that metal, that solder, where I want it to be on the joint. And it is silver solder, and this is copper wire, but you're going to put just a small amount, and it's easily filed. The extra is filed away, so you'll be in good shape there. And right now I'm showing you with my titanium pick, see how I'm making that little circle around the ring? When I heat the ring to solder that paste, to flow that paste, you need to remember, you guys, that the metal, it's the temperature of the metal that flows the solder and not the actual flame of the torch. So that little rotation that I'm doing with the pick, that's what I'm going to do with my solder flame. So I've turned the lights down now, and you're going to see me actually flame it up here. There's my torch, my handy dandy blazer, peeking in. My butane microtorch is what I'm using. And for my classes, kids, I always use a butane microtorch, so it's super portable and really easy and safe for you to use at home. We don't all have the luxury of a big fancy studio, so it's good to be able to do it right there at home. So I'm going to heat up my torch, and I'm zooming in here a little bit so you can actually see the action that's happening. And I've placed my solder joint away from me, and you can see I'm coming in with the torch here. And I'm just going in slow little circles. And see, that solder fell a little bit, but that's okay, because as it flows, it's going to follow the heat of the torch to close the join. Now watch what happens. Here I'm heating slowly and evenly with the sweet spot of the torch, and see right there,
boop.
Look at that.
Yeah.
That boom, like
that's
a
the
little
magic.
Yeah, right there. It's like a little line of mercury, silver mercury that runs. And I just move that torch tip right across the join, and you can see that solder is easing into the join. I finish that up there, then I pop off, the torch turns off, and you can see right up close really how that solder has nestled into that join. And kids, that's how super easy it is to solder a ring. And just the variations when you solder using solder paste and even using metal solder, it really works the same way. Remember that, you need to heat your metal to soldering temperature in order for it to flow. There I go to quench it right there, and you're going to see me pick it up and test it, but it's all been soldered. But remember, it's the heat of that metal that flows the solder and not the actual flame of the torch. So there's lots of great tips and tricks coming up in that class. So you're going to be soldering with ease.
And it's very addicting. It's very freeing once you know how to make even the simplest of things like your own jump rings and things. It's a whole new world.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yes. And it meshes, really well with all of your other techniques. Like we have so many great polymer clay artists and metal clay artists, and soldering is just kind of a great umbrella to bring all of those arts together. I think.
Yeah.
Exactly. Don't have to worry. Here's a good question for you, Kate. Charlotte wants to know, and I don't even know this, does the paste solder come in soft, medium, and hard? The different?
Yes, Charlotte, it does actually. And you can find paste solder in some different types. I use silver paste solder because it does come in medium, easy, and hard. You can find copper paste solder as well as brass paste solder, but those only come in a single flow point. So I use silver for just about everything, and then I file away any of the little residue, or the extra if it flows.
And Melody says, however, it changes the color of the piece. Right there it does. You try to find a matching solder. Do you ever work with the copper solders, Kate?
I do, but again, with the paste solder, I really recommend using the silver, because the silver teaches you how to really use the smallest amount of solder available. And then you can use a rotary tool or a file or some sandpaper and really file away that extra. So I use silver all the time on my mixed metals, but then I just go ahead and
file it away.
Clean it up and file it away, and it's super clean.
I use the silver too, and I have to agree. I mean, it works really, really super well. But here's a trick for copper. If you have pickle, and if you use the wrong tongs, right? Don't use the copper tongs, but use the nickel ones. Then it'll automatically plate the silver, so it all looks like copper.
That's a good point. That's right.
Clever.
That is a good trick.
And so you actually want to use your steel tongs.
Steel.
And what you can use are your soldering tongs, or if you have a little piece of steel binding wire, go ahead and throw it into your pickle pot. And it's something we call pickle plating, and it gives it that little electric charge. And all of the copper kind of metal molecules that it's pulled off the pickle has when it cleans the metal will go ahead and plate itself back on to whatever is in the pickle pot. So if you are doing a lot of copper and you're a little messy with your silver solder, it's a great way to
cover it.
Cover it up. Yeah, it's perfect.
Cool.
But now even Sue, who's on the line, just typed me a question. Does that contaminate your pickle for good? It's a good question.
It doesn't. No, it removes. You remove the steel, and your pickle goes back to normal.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
I've come across that by accident myself. And then Miss Sarah, she has a good question here, one of our presenters, because it does look that when you did that, it filled a gap slightly with the solder. Mm-hmm. Does the paste solder fill gaps easier than?
I think it is a little more forgiving. Solder actually doesn't flow to fill a gap. So there was just a slight little, and it was really, since I had such a great camera, you could really see that gap in there. But fortunately, since it had such a larger surface, like with jump rings, I seem to be able to get away with it a little bit more often if I'm not as judicious with my filing. But if I really am soldering two flat pieces of metal together, I really need to make sure that join is pretty clean. But the solder paste, it's really easy to use, and I'm telling you, even with that little gap in that ring, it soldered it really, really well. So I'm super pleased with it. I love it.
And you guys that are all asking other soldering questions, come to the class.
Do. Oh, you guys, it's going to be
get the answers for free.
Yeah,
it's going to be so fun.
Because it's all fun. You're going to love it. It's all good. You're going to love it. So,
I have so much for you to learn.
Yeah, and you can do it on your kitchen table with these kind of torches, so you're going to love it. I just put in everyone's box there, I'll send it again, the chat box, Kate's link to her store. Because Kate, tell everyone what you have in there for them so they can take a look.
Yeah, so in my store, I've got lots of great stuff. I've got my great book called Simple Soldering. It came out last year, and it's a best-selling book on my soldering methods, and written just for you guys who, especially the beginners who have kind of started just soldering and need a little more hand-holding with that. And it's meant to be read start to finish, kind of like a novel. And at the end of the novel, you'll be a great solderer. So that's up there. It's it's like a romance, but with metal. Once upon a time in a land far, far away.
Those are the kind of novels I enjoy. Something with
it has a lot behind it. And so that's in my Etsy store, my Simple Soldering book, as well as I carry the paste solder and just some other basics that you might need for your soldering as well. But I urge you, my book is awesome. Right now, it's actually going into its second printing, so there's going to be a little bit of a delay in shipping because my books, I know, it's kind of awesome. So
you want to learn soldering from the best who's passionate about soldering and get the book with everything. So you're in good hands with Kate.
I'm super passionate. I could talk about it all night.
I know, you're good, honey. All right, did you just say your code is going to be 10% off CraftCast?
Yeah, it's
1013.
Yeah, so you get a 10% code. It'll be in your email. For my Etsy store, it's CraftCast, all lowercase, CraftCast 1013, the month of October 10 and the year 13.
I'm sending it off to everyone right there. So there
Perfect.
we go.
Yep, that's it. And so that's good for the next 2 weeks.
Sue just wrote 50 Shades of Solder. You
book?
Yeah.
You have no
I was
idea.
But I said
very sexy. Very sexy.
Oh, it's a scary group we're with here. Well, thank you, darling, for that.
My
everyone
pleasure.
come to the
very
class.
gentle.
It's going to be great fun. So we love soldering and soldering chains, which are totally cool because then you can patina the chain that you soldered. It just gets better and better is all I can say. So there we go.
Sure.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Kate. Onward
You're
here.
welcome.
Onward. Big round of applause for you. We love seeing a good soldering there. Everyone's saying, thanks, Kate. We want to buy some now.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Do you sell the solders in your store as well?
I do. The paste solder is up there as well
There you go.
in
So
easy,
go
medium, and
check
hard.
it all out there, everyone. It's perfect. People are asking about where to get that. Okay,
Yes.
Mr. Patrik Kusek, who's done all of these crazy events with me and has lots of classes for sale over at craftcast.com.
Yay.
This is exciting as well. Everyone's coming up with making their own tools and selling things, so this is quite fun. So, Patrik, take it away. I'm going to start with your JPEGs first, right? You're going to explain to us.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So this is, we have the silhouette cutter, which is a little bit high-tech. This is the low-tech version. So these are actually templates, and I made these pieces that you're looking at with the templates. They're specifically made for metal clay and to have an option of using mixed media with your metal clay. So what you're looking at here is one of the templates. There's a base piece which has the tabs, and then there's the metal clay insert piece, and this particular one happens to be enameled. If you look at the next one, you'll see that that's a piece of, it's a piece of collage that I did. And the main problem with using metal clay with any sort of mixed media is the shrinkage. You have two different things. You have one that's already shrunk down, and then you have another one, and then usually you have a template that doesn't have the corresponding size. So here is an example. It's like, this is what I created with the base piece and the insert, and then I included a third insert, which is the one that you would use for mixed media.
This is
all
so
been calculated
brilliant.
down in size, and this is for fine silver metal clay, and it all works together, in concert with one another. So
taking in for the shrinkage rate.
Yeah, you take the shrinkage rate into consideration.
All right, wait, let me open up. Did I open up your video? Yes, it's right here. I got too excited looking at everything. I got to pay attention. Be back on my IT here. All right, so now you're going to show us how that all works.
So here's the template, and this is the metal clay base. And I rolled this out 4 cards thick. It's important that you do at least 4 cards thick because of the strength. And then I just basically have a dental tool that I've used. Just make friends with your dentist so you can get them for free. And you basically just cut them right around.
They give them
like
away
that.
when they're old.
Oh, yeah. And they're perfect for metal clay, polymer clay as well. And you just gently remove the excess and just take care not to bend the tabs. Set that aside to dry, and then you can go on to the metal clay insert. And that's the larger of the 2 insert templates. And again, 4 cards thick. And that's such a nice texture. It came from my Woodland Chic texture sheet.
That's one of my favorites.
Those are nice.
Yeah. And then cut that out just like that, and you pop that into the dehydrator and get it to the bone dry stage. And once it's in the bone dry stage, you can start to do any of the sanding and refinements. What I like to do is just take a emery board and make those corners nice and crisp. Notice my finger on top is supporting the tab because these are fragile. You just want to sand that. It's extremely critical to fire these at 1650 for 2 hours. That gives you the maximum amount of strength. And you can see here how that insert piece just fits nicely right into the base piece.
Cool.
Next, what we're going to do is just bend them. You can bend them with your fingers, or my preferred way to do this is with a pair of pliers. And I start off really close to the base, and then give it a little bend, and then scooch up the pliers a little bit to give it a little bit of room, and scooch it up a little bit more and bend it, scooch it up a little bit more and bend it, and you would do that to all 4 of the prongs. Now, I did mention that 1650 at 2 hours. Again, that is critical because metal clay only, has a certain amount of strength to it, and it will crack if you don't, fire it properly. It needs to be 100% centered. So these tabs will get bent over until they're almost closed. You'll kind of see what's happening here as I start to bend it. And then you would do that on 2 of the sides, and then pop in the piece, and then use a pair of pliers with Delrins to close up the tab. And you see, I'm not going to do it right there where the pliers just were. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come in at an angle and bend those prongs down. I don't want to put any stress on that on the tab that's unneeded. So I'm just going to come in from the bottom at an angle, and then also from the top at an angle. And then that's what's going to secure the whole thing in place. And of course, you do that to all 4 tabs as well.
Okay.
So if you wanted to use the template with mixed media, or a piece of copper sheet like what we're looking at there, or there's the template itself. There's the smaller one. The smaller insert is for mixed media because it's already been calculated for the shrinkage, and then the larger one is towards the bottom.
Nice.
So there's what's in that. That's mixed media. Something.
That's
faux
mixed
bone?
media. That's a piece of faux bone.
Faux bone, yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm just going to show you really quick how to, mark that for faux bone, or it could be for anything else that is not metal clay because, again, of that shrinkage rate. On the actual template itself, it has the markings that say post-fired use for mixed media. And so that's the one you would want to use, just so that there's no confusion. This is a piece of faux bone. I have a little etching tool. I'm just going to scratch it right into the faux bone, and then it makes a nice mark into the faux bone, and you can see there's a nice impression, and it's perfectly the same shape as the template. You can just cut that right out.
Cool. And
so
then
the next thing we're looking at here, these are all the different sizes that you can come up with.
Cool.
So the one on the left
really
is just using the template, with no metal clay. This happens to be an old oatmeal tin, and I just kind of burned off the paint, and then I used the template. But you can use it with sterling or copper sheet or whatever. And then the second one over, of course, is the one we just saw with the metal clay and metal clay. The third one over is the faux bone, and then the fourth one, you actually need to take a separate step to get it to be the correct size, because I calculated these for fine silver, and now there's so many different types of clay that are out there that shrink down to different sizes. You have to take an extra step. So let's take a look at the next video to show how that works. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a template from the template and use the appropriate clay. So in this particular version, I'm using copper clay. Copper clay shrinks down much further than the regular fine silvers. So this is why we need to take that extra step. Again, this is 4 cards thick, and I'm going to use the larger of the 2 templates, which is the metal clay template, and then a little bit out of frame there, sorry guys. Gonna trace that out.
I thought you were going to blame me for that.
Just so that there's no confusion on this template, I mark a big T for template so that I will always have this to use in the future whenever I use copper clay. And then I would do the same thing for bronze clay and do the same thing for sterling. And what's nice about this is it's calibrated, because you fired it in your kiln. And all kilns have a little bit of variance in their shrinkage rate, after things are fired. So it's calculated just for your kiln. You take that, and then you can use it on polymer clay. You can use it to trace out onto glass, and then you can, cut the glass and grind it. It just opens up a whole new world of possibilities with all the different types of material you can use with metal clay, and it's all calculated out.
It's having all your proportions done for you.
Cool.
There you go. Ta-da.
So you can play a lot of different ways. And now let me, wait, we have a few more pictures.
Oh, yes, I forgot. Different shapes. There's 4 different styles of templates.
Ooh, I like that one.
I think this is great,
enameling.
For me, especially if you're starting something new, a new medium, and you want some help of what to get going with and how the shrinkage works. I don't do well with that shrinkage thing and the percentages.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to do,
So it's
Nice.
I think that's great. And then you can get all of these. I have it opened up over here. Well, we have a few things we got to show. But Metal Clay Supply Company, go on into here and type in Patrik's name. It'll bring you right up to all of those, which is really fun. Let me plop this in the box for everyone. You want to go check that out. It's fabulous. And then, Patrik, on your site, you have something that you're offering for everyone. I know we were getting comments right there about people who love your, who already have your stamp and love it.
Yay, thank you, guys.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah.
The
So
etching
beautiful.
tool Patrik
Very
used,
pretty.
I think that was just, into the faux bone. What was the etching tool Patrik used to etch the template silhouette into the faux bone? Oh, there you go.
It's for etching into glass. Yeah, it's
There
a
you
little
go.
stylus type thing. I don't know. I didn't actually buy it. I inherited that from a friend, so I don't know where I got it.
best
I'm
way to
sorry,
get
but I can take a
tools.
look.
Always fun. And here's
Yeah.
a good question for Melody. Is bronze and copper clay that bendable for the tabs? Do you have to anneal it at all?
Yes.
It is,
Yeah.
okay.
No, it's straight out of the kiln. It's already annealed. Make
Perfect.
sure that that you've calibrated your kiln properly, and you can make sure that all of your metal clay is sintered properly as well. And if you have a concern, what I would do is have a sacrificial piece that is the exact same thickness and then just bend that, and then if that cracks, then you know that it's not centered properly.
There you go. It's always good to have a little test piece there. So now, Patrik, tell everyone what you've got going over at your website, especially for tonight.
40% off of my PDF version of my book. So that's exciting. You can just download it.
Oh, nice.
You can start reading right away.
Start reading right away. Well,
it's a great book. I have it.
Yes,
I love it.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
I like
And it has
too.
links to videos and templates you can download and all sorts of bonus stuff at the very back. So it's kind of fun.
And you use the code TOOLS, correct?
I did. Let me see if I can remember that.
I wrote it down that you told me that's what you were doing.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
I believe. Let me check.
All right, go ahead and check. Well, you can tell us all. I'm going to send this out to everyone, though. There's the link. So go play, go look. It's all good stuff. You're going to love it. It's all exciting. Well, thank you, darling, for showing us that.
Thank you.
That is all very cool.
Woo-hoo.
Yes, big applause. People are watching and looking. 4 quarts thick. Centering is crucial. Love the stamp. I know the stamp's great. Check out that stamp, Melody. It's really fabulous. All right, moving on. We have Sarah Shriver. Sarah's going to show us. I love this story because when I talked to Sarah about coming on and doing her favorite tool, she said her favorite tool were her fingers. And I said, but that's a digital tool. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Can you hear me, Allison?
Yes, you can talk up just a little bit more, Sarah.
Okay. I just don't want to breathe.
Yeah, we don't know if it was you. We're just blaming someone, the mad breather. All right, so I'm going to start rolling your video, and you tell people what's going on here.
Okay, well, I'm just telling a little story, and the story is that I started for years. I used a cigar box and a jelly jar, and I just rolled till my dad said, "That's not a business. You need tools." So with Marie and Howard's help, I bought myself the Atlas machine and a roller, which I soon replaced with the handle. And my video's ahead of me, but I'm basically saying that really my hands are where it's at. This slide is actually out of context because the next slide was going to be this next one, which says, and then after my pasta machine got rid of the handle, added the motor.
Wow.
And I kind of am up to speed with all y'all.
Here, I'll pause it right there because that motor is really cool, right? It's and if you have the old Atlas machine, you can get a template that, what is that called? It's like
you can replace the face of your machine if you don't have one that's built for a motor.
Right.
And it just has a little key lock so that you can add a motor to it.
Yeah.
As an additional commentary, I would say that both the pasta machine and the motor have taken a step down in quality, and the motor and the machine that used to last me months and months and months and months, if not years, does not last. So I am in line for a dream machine.
Okay.
I finally decided to put my big girl pants on and bend the dough and get the dream machine with the motor, only to find that they're out of production right now, and I will be waiting close to 3/4 of a year for a dream machine.
Yikes.
Sadly, but that's just the way it goes.
All right.
So in the meantime, I am very gingerly using my pasta machine and motor.
Someone's breathing heavy.
Pardon me?
Someone's breathing heavy.
Oh, it's probably me. Is it me?
No.
Okay.
Talking.
So anyway, I told Allison that I'm not such a tools girl. I'm all about the hand and the fingers. And one day I realized that I was using my fingers differently. And I said, oh, look, a new tool. Pinch, pinch. See how I'm pinching?
Yes.
It was sort of a new way of pinching. And I just thought, oh, look, a new tool. And that's kind of, I am very, I'm very low tech and very process. And so these are my little pinching fingers.
And what good pinching fingers they are.
Indeed.
You're not that low
Christi,
tech.
you're
You
a
shot
pinchy
great
finger girl.
videos.
I'm a pinchy finger girl
And
too.
I just
yeah.
threw this in here because I have nothing to sell except for those beads, and were made with my Interpic Kaleidoscope Caning DVD, which is available on my site.
Look at those
here I am
beads.
pinching these weirdly little shaped beads, and I really kind of like this little drawing out motion with my hands. So you can get a 10% discount on my hands by writing me. Then I started to really think, without being too cheeky, I started to really think about what are my favorite tools. And my most mandatory favorite tools, because I am a caner, is a super sharp blade. And this blade was given to me very generously by Kathy Briefer-Goss, and these are the bomb. They are the absolute best blades. They are so sharp, stainless. They really hold their blade. And Bear Creek manufacturer, they're the best. And you can, I'm showing here, you can really cut without deforming. A pretty thin slice, you can do even better than that.
Wait, let me back up and show everyone. There's your thin
tool
slice.
That I really like was presented to be, hi Ellen, by Ellen and Sue, and at Creative Journey Studio, and you can buy that on their site, Filigree and More. And I love these little stiff brushes. I use a lot of Genesis extender for putting fresh clay onto baked clay, and this brush both lays on a very thin layer, and also you can kind of brush off the little excess, and it makes it very tidy to use. Oh wait, I'm not done talking.
I know, I'm going to stop right there. I'm pausing.
I just want to say that those little you're able to put like on that piece I was using that little vertical stripe, which is a thin little stripe of unbaked clay, and with the brush and the extender you can get a nice adhering, very small, kind of delicate piece to sit exactly where you want it on your piece. So I really like it for that. And then I'm using it to lay on a sticky surface on a piece of baked clay so that I can add a piece of unbaked clay, and it works really good for doing I'm kind of doing a reverse inlay technique there. And so anyway, that's what those
brushes
are. And you
are
can
great.
get them on the Filigree and More site. They call them Ultra Brushes, 200 bristles. Another one of my most treasured tools is my Aquarelle Soft water-soluble color pencils. I'm very processy, and so one of the things I like to do is maybe use a painting where I can really see how the artist has broken down the different colors. And I like to use these water-soluble pencils and do drawings, and then I use one of these water brushes, I think they call it. You can get that on the Dick Blick site, and then you can bring a water brush into these water-soluble pencils and make them perform like watercolors. It's very satisfying. And when you use the pencils, I use it for kind of diagnosing what colors I'm going to use in my blends. So I use the pencils and add pencil upon pencil upon pencil until I feel like I've got the colorway that I'm looking for, and then I add the water to it and kind of make it into a watercolor. But it helps me analyze what colors I want to use to make a stack of Skinner blends, which is where I'm heading with this. I basically make stacks of Skinner blends and use those to compose my use those to compose my cane.
Yeah, that's great.
So, and there's a little storyboard about doing the water soluble pencils and then the Skinner blends, and then built up into the cane. And that's my whole story right there.
Wow,
that's a great story.
Oh, that is cool.
Very
and
cool.
Judith
indeed.
Skinner is so pleased.
And Judith Skinner is on the line. And Judith knows, I always give a nod to Judith.
Yeah.
And I usually tell my little story about when I first started doing the Skinner blends. Judith will enjoy this. When I first started doing the Skinner blends, Judith was standing next to me, I think, at a show, and somebody was asking me about it, and I said, well, I just don't know whether to kick her or kiss her, because it added this whole new layer of process to what I was doing that was kind of endless. But since she piped up and said, well, I'm Judith Skinner, I decided to kiss her. And that's the story, people.
Thank you, darling.
That's
and
a
you
good
are
story,
not
baby.
you.
Woo-hoo.
We have to talk Sarah into doing a class here at Craftcast. She said she
Yes.
wasn't, at all capable. She wasn't digital, and then she went off and made all those videos. I'm
Yes,
like,
you
okay, you're
are.
fine. You're fine.
Yeah.
So
Yes, you
Yeah.
are.
Yes.
That'd be awesome.
Yes.
we
Oh,
want
I
you
would
on
take
here.
it.
Yes, we want. We want it.
So thank you for including me, and it is really fun to be here. You guys are great.
See, it's fun. We just have a rocking time here
Woohoo.
because we're all just sort of geeky crazy.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. So thank you so much for doing that, Sarah. And
Thank
you
you
took
all.
a chance.
And thank you, Judith, as always.
So, well,
And
everyone's
Ellen.
saying thank
and
you,
I'll call
thank
you,
you.
Ellen.
Yeah, Mags just said, see, people are saying just do it. They want you to do a class. So there you go. I knew
All
it.
right.
You're
Thanks,
fine.
Mags. Hi, Mags.
All right. Now we're going on to something from Mr. Seth Savarick. He's sort of my brother. And
Hey.
hi, honey. And
Hi.
he's also a good tech head with all of this. So this is a way, because I really wanted people to see ways of adding computer into their artwork as well. So Seth made this little video.
Well, can we start with the
the pictures?
stills?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I started those, and then we'll do the video.
Yep, just tell me when. Here's the first one.
Oh, so people are always asking me about how I do my patterns, and a lot of times I start with a font. And so I thought I would just show some websites that you can get fonts at, which can become great places to begin
Designs.
creating patterns and designs and all kinds of things. So I'm going to kind of demonstrate that. This site is called MyFont, myfont.com. It's mostly paid. You do have to purchase them, but I do have 2 other slides of some free sites that you can go to, which have a lot of free fonts.
I'm just putting that link in the box for everyone. So off that went.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Here's another one. Dafont.
Dafont, yeah. Dafont.com. Free fonts available for you, and you can download them, and they are really great. And then Font Squirrel is another one, another site.
That's fun.
So I use those sites, and I have a huge collection of fonts. And to manage that on the computer, I use a program called Font Explorer X, which I think
don't
there's
know
a
about
slide
that.
for that.
Oh, here it is right here.
Yeah,
That's what that is. Okay.
Yeah, it's by Letraset, and you can get that online. Just do Font Explorer X, search for it, or we can include. I'll give you the link to include in the PDF of that, and it allows me to. I think I have a slide. The next slide shows you. I have over, I think, 7,000 fonts on my system.
Yeah,
so it
I
allows
love
me.
you.
And
That's fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you. It's like collecting. You know, I've been collecting them for over 20 years, and I
Fountain of
manage
knowledge.
them.
Sorry.
And I've been managing them using this program, which is very much like an iTunes program for managing fonts, and it allows you to open and close them and work with them. And I do a lot of work with fonts, not just since my graphic design days and now into my artwork where I'm using fonts a lot. Who's ever breathing? Stop breathing. So I'm going to. I think I have. Is there one more slide? Or is
Yep,
that
right there.
the movie? Yeah. Okay. So one of the things I do is I use Adobe Illustrator a lot. In fact, I use Illustrator a lot more than I use Photoshop. And this program earlier, when Cynthia was showing you the vector forms for cutting out, is a perfect program for creating those vectors, where you're creating points and lines that can then be sized, and it's not like a Photoshop, which is pixel based. So one of the things I do is I have this little template, which is every character in a font just typed out, so that I can then change that and look at each of the characters. So you'll see how I do that in the video. So we could proceed to the video.
Got it, babe.
So I start with this template, and then I go ahead and change to whatever font I want. In this case, I'm going to use a font called Not Caslon. And then I can look and I can say, oh, I like this character or I like that character. So I look at the characters. And a lot of times I just look at letters from my name or letters from a word, where I'll just look at the characters and I select those characters. Now I'm making a selection as a font. It says with the type tool, I'm making that selection. I open a new document and I paste that just into the new document with the text tool. And this is now a piece of text. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to duplicate it. And I think I decided I didn't quite like this character as much, so I'm going to change from the one format to the other, which I really actually ended up liking. So I was just going to delete out the other one. And one of the big things that I do is I convert the text from a text character, which can be selected with the text tool. I'm going to move that out of the way. I convert it into a vector character where it's made up of points. This is kind of like what we saw earlier with Cynthia with tracing. You'll see now it's made up of points and lines. It's no longer selectable. I can't retype that character. It is now a piece of work, right? Which I can then go in, and sometimes I will change it by playing with the points. But I decided to use this character as is. You see, I can't select it with the text tool at all. It is an object. In vector drawing, we call that an object. So one of the things you can do in vectors is rotate and do all kinds of transformations. So I'm going to rotate this letter form, which I call now my pattern cell, around an axis. And you can choose where that axis is, and I'm just going to use a 90-degree rotation. So I'll repeat that and duplicate it, and now I've created a pattern element. And depending on where you place that origin for that rotation, you can create, move that out of the way, and I'll do all kinds of variations, but I'll make a copy of that element, and then I'll try putting the origin of the rotation in a different spot, and I'll still do a 90-degree rotation of it, but now I'm going to put it at the point there. So I'll rotate from there, copy it, do that 3 times, and now I've created a totally different looking element. And this can go on for hours. It's hypnotic sometimes. I can get totally lost, and the next thing I know, it's like 5 hours later, and I've been just rotating letter forms or shapes into patterns. So I'll do one more. Again, changing where that rotation is. I can overlap it if I don't like it. I love that one. Actually, I think I got rid of that one, though.
And you know what's crazy is people are watching this freaking out. Then you put it in the silhouette machine and cut it.
Right, exactly. I was thinking that you could then cut this out. And
you cut it out in polymer. Cut out metal.
You could solder it all together and put patina on it.
Right.
That's right. See? Now you know where.
So, but here's how I create a pattern in Illustrator. The new Illustrator, the Creative Cloud, Illustrator Creative Cloud, or Illustrator 6, whichever version, the most recent one you have. They have the ability to create a pattern from an object. So I'm just going to make this into a pattern.
Oh, cool.
And this allows me to just instantly generate a pattern, and then I can work with the repeats. I can work with the type of grid it is. So right now I'm on a grid, but if I want to change it to a hexagon grid, I can go in and say I want to change the tiling type to a hexagon or an offset brick. I can change the repeat. Here's a hexagon. So
that's
once
cool.
I get,
Isn't that great?
now I have a pattern, and I can go and generate many different patterns. And you'll notice in the top right corner, there's the pattern swatches that I've had that I'm creating up there, and it automatically creates those for you. So Illustrator is a great thing, and then the spacing between them can be worked with. It's all crazy. Of these things.
And it's an original pattern. It's an original
pattern.
Yeah.
Right. And then I can go in and output this into a texture plate. I could output this into a screen stencil. You can overlap. See how what happens when you start to overlap, and that's how I make a lot of my patterns.
So come a little closer to your mic, people.
That's how I make a lot of my patterns. I don't want to breathe too heavily.
No, it's fine. You're fine.
So that's how I do it, and you can also start with shapes. But then
do you
can
use
take
these for your veneers then?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, okay.
When I screen print, I use these to generate screen printed veneers. So that's the magic right there. It's using the computer, which is one of my favorite tools. I use it for everything. For patterns, I use it for creating templates, which I have a cutter similar to the Silhouette that I use to cut out templates. I make patterns. I measure things out so that I can be sure that, almost like a dressmaker's pattern, where I take a shape and I find the contours of it, and draw it out so that I can then cut out a shape and then shape it perfectly to fit the form that I've created. So
it's
there you go. Using
mind-boggling, people.
Yeah. Very cool.
Right?
Very cool.
Yeah.
Everyone's freaking out. Etching patterns. It's more magic.
You could etch this.
Poor
Absolutely.
Gwen's.
Yeah.
I think Gwen. Someone should send over some oxygen masks to Gwen. I think she's freaking out about everything.
Just
I
drink,
agree.
Gwen, it's okay.
I agree.
We don't want anyone's head to explode.
No, but it sort of could. Seth, that's really fabulous. And tell everyone quickly, there's some you can buy into the cloud and try Illustrator.
Yes,
you can go
right.
do 30
You can
days free, I think, right?
Yeah,
to try
you can do 30 days free, and you can get the Creative Cloud, which is $50 a month, which sounds expensive, but you're getting like 8 to 12 programs.
Yeah.
Or you can get an individual program. I think if you were to get just Illustrator, it's $19 a month. They have different programs. You can get. I think they're coming out with a 3-program option, which I know
there's
people
lots
were telling
to
them.
look at, though.
Yeah,
I mean, there's lots.
There's
to
also there are other drawing programs out there. There's iDraw. If you're on the Mac and you go into the App Store on your Mac, there is just a wealth of, just put in drawing programs. There's iDraw, and there's another one I can't think of the name right now, but I'll give you the links to those for the PDF. But there's any drawing program, vector drawing program, can do a lot of this.
Right, that's key to know. And just try, look around. You can get some of the free ones. Don't get frustrated. There's lots of great stuff out there. There's lots of great videos and tutorials and stuff. And even just, you'll get a recording of this. You can go back and start playing, just following with Seth. You just got to jump in and do it.
Yeah. And I think we haven't figured out the details yet, but we're planning a class on computer.
Yes.
This kind of stuff, creating artwork for your
Type
for your
in
work.
people who are on right now. Would you be interested in that kind of thing, that kind of a class? Let me know if that's
Photoshop, Illustrator.
How to use it for your crafts that way. So I get a read on that. Yes.
Yes, for me.
Yes. Okay, good.
Awesome.
Everyone is very interested, coming in fast and furious, most definitely.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, I use it also for creating my slides for jurying and to show, all that kind of stuff. The computer is just such a, and managing your business, keeping your books and all of it.
Yeah,
it's
a real
a great tool.
how-to. And Suzanne's, who's speaking next, is also, we're coming up with, classes that you need to use our equipment is the kind of thing, like how to use the equipment specifically for our craft. So we're going to be doing that. And Seth is a great one for that. So yes, everyone's very interested, Mr. Savarick. So let's do that.
Can I just say, if you have a kid in school, you get $19 a month for the Adobe Cloud.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so that's a good way. You might not want to do that,
that's
but
right.
Now they can be in grade school.
Yes.
Wow.
And they give you that discount.
Yep.
That's
I did
great.
hear that too. So that's
So
a really
rent
good
a kid
thing.
if you need to.
Rent a kid, yeah.
A good one.
Yes, it was wonderful. People definitely want to take a class from you. So there we go, hon. Well, thank you for doing that. You're so good at that, and you go into such a teacher mode, and I understand. I love that. Thank you, darling.
You're so welcome. My pleasure.
All right, so now to wrap up the evening, because we also, as I said, I've put off announcing raffles because I want to sell more tickets, and because we're having a problem with the link where you buy the tickets. My fault totally. I'm putting it off, but I'm going to send an email out tomorrow with all of it. One of the metalclaysupply.com donated what you're going to see now. So Ms. Suzanne McNenly, you're going to show us how to do this.
Yes.
This is crazy. Look at these little things.
So
Tell
excited.
people what you do with this machine.
So this, my work is really, really tiny. It's metal clay. And am I echoing, Allison? Because
No.
I hear an echo. No, okay, good. Anybody who does metal clay knows that when it comes out of the kiln, it looks white, and you have to burnish it in order to make it look like the metal that it is, the silver. So my stuff is incredibly tiny, and currently those are the options that you have. You can use a brass brush, that top right hand corner, or you can use something on your Fordham or Dremel, a little brass thing as well, or put it in your tumbler. But you can see on those little shoes there, they're 1 card thick. They're really, really tiny, and they're very delicate. So I would just destroy them if I did any of those things. So what I use, this is the tool, okay, and it's called a magnetic finisher, and here's where you're going to see those little pins up there. That is what is in the finisher. So it's almost like you took the
brass brush.
the little brass pieces and cut them off of it, and they're going to float around in my stuff and burnish it for me, but they're free floating. Now, of course, do not do this at home, children, please. Don't cut the pieces off your brass brush. These are special. Yes, of course. These are special pins. Yeah. These are special magnetized pins that will go in the next tool. And this tool, the magnetic tumbler, this is the one. If my studio was on fire, which you would think it is, because my smoke detector goes off at least once a week, this is the thing that I would grab. I would assuming there's nobody in my studio, I would let all of my stuff go. This is the one thing. If this broke as well, if I was working on pieces, I simply couldn't do another thing, because I won't do anything without it. So this one's a Raytech, the one that you just want to pause it for just a quick sec, Allison. The one that Metal Clay Supply is
different company, I think.
Is giving. It's just a different brand. Same. Right. They've got great reviews. Same thing. So it's you can see there. I put in about 100 grams of the pins. That is a magnetic base that it's sitting on, and the pins, when it turns on, the pins will just kind of all jiggle around. They're held down by the magnetic base. They're just kind of jiggling around as if I was using a tiny brush on my stuff. So they say put 100 grams in. I usually put more. You should take care of your tools, but I've had this for 7 years and I've done it. I never even knew what the proper way to use it was until I looked it up for this class. I've done everything wrong,
and
I love
ticking
this.
Like a Timex.
Yes, and I've had it for 7 years. I can tell you if it broke tomorrow, I would order one from Rio 5 minutes later, have it delivered, because I can't live without it, and then I would just fix my other one and sell it, because it's that important. So you can go, Allison, and see. So it's easy as pie. You put in the pins, and then you just fill up the water level. I usually put it on medium, the medium level. It's no big deal, whatever. And then you put in whatever you want, your little tiny pieces. You kind of get to know how much stuff you can put in. You can't put in, a million things. They have to be able to move freely. And then I just use a mild dish soap. Of course, you can use Sunsheen, burnishing compounds. I haven't noticed a huge difference, but I do it for 20 minutes. However, it's done in a few minutes, really. And that's all that happens. If you can see on the video, it's just swirling around. You just leave it in there. And again, just envision that they're tiny little brushes that you're brushing your stuff with.
Do you have to wash it well when you do the margarita mix, or how do you rinse?
Yeah. No, I just drink that dirty water.
Oh, okay. Because I think it would be fabulous. I think it would be fabulous.
Yeah. So also, like you saw those little shoes, they were 1 card thick, and I can fit 6 of them on a penny, and they don't get destroyed. Nothing happens to them. Now, to get things out of the tumbler,
this
you
is
can
the
use
good trick.
Yeah, this is fun. You can use just tweezers if you want, but if you're doing those little tiny things there, those are little heads of tulips that I make. They're tiny, tiny, tiny. And so I got kind of tired of just fishing them out one by one, because they look like the little metal pins, when they're all mixed in together. So I just put them on little copper wire, or that is a magnetic gun. You put that in. We're going to show you the...
I love this.
Oh, that's... So what happens is you just use your magnetic gun, you stick it in there.
Look at that.
And it pulls up the magnets. And so all your stuff stays in the bowl. The stuff that's not magnetic stays in the bowl.
And so all your little pieces are right in there.
Yeah, I really do love it. It's weirdly satisfying.
That's awesome.
No, wait, we have one more. We have one more picture here. And look at how it comes out. Look how beautiful.
Yeah.
Sue's
That's
work
how
is.
it comes out, and you can see actually if you look in the little shoes, there's a dark spot. That's actually lighting. They're silver, they're shiny inside, and look at what it got in there. Yeah, it's the coolest thing. It's an expensive tool, but I will tell you, it makes up. It pays for itself in absolutely no time, because I'm a big time is money person. And plus, I couldn't do that. I simply couldn't get that. Couldn't burnish those shoes on the inside. There's no way. So it's very cool.
I've always wanted to see how one of those work. I totally get it now. That is a total cool
Yeah.
machine. So
It's very cool. So, I have not, as well as Sarah said, I have nothing personally to give away. However,
your information.
anybody who knows me knows that one day I truly do intend to run the world. I'm sure
there
that
you
once
go.
people figure out that I should be running it, I'll be running it, and you can all be my minions for free.
Perfect.
That's what I'm giving away.
That is easy.
Ground level
excellent
entry
deal.
to the minion pile.
There you go.
Excellent.
Perfect. But wait, you also have a class over at craftcast.com where
Yes,
you show
I do,
how to
on those
make
little
these,
dresses. Yeah.
and this,
Those are darling.
I'm telling you,
Yeah,
another
there's lots
brilliant
of tips
teacher.
in it. It's not necessarily, even if you have no interest in making little dresses, there's lots of metal clay tips in it
Yes.
for how, because I didn't know what Seth was going to be doing previously. Seth, if Allison, if you're Seth's sister, then he
Yes.
is also, I'm part of the
Oh,
family.
you're part of,
because
yes. Seth,
I live on
Sue
Illustrator.
and I, yeah, we
and-
call each other.
yeah.
What is it that you, what
And
was the term?
fonts are my favorite thing.
Oh,
One of my
wow.
favorite patterns is made with a font. So
there you go.
So-
Yes,
but
we're
that,
all
I kind of get into
this
that in
stuff.
my class.
We'll
Yes,
have to
that
talk
class,
sometime.
Yeah.
Sue's class, if you want to see how this is all draped and everything, it's just not a cutout dress.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. So if you're interested in
That's
that kind of,
amazing.
and you want to
And
use
yet
it
it's
in,
easy peasy.
yes, in metal clay,
Yeah.
polymer clay, go ahead and look at that. So
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good, and you know what I really like? All these tools sort of came together because you can cut, wait, let me see if Cynthia, are you there, Cynthia?
Yes,
She's
and
there.
I'm
Okay, good.
not breathing.
Yeah, you're not breathing.
We're all turning blue because we're
Yes,
not
we
allowed
are. We're all blue, 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 ready to pass out. Everyone who came tonight, raise your hand, clap for these people. They did this all to show you and share their generous knowledge.
Yay.
And
Yay.
I mean,
Yay.
thank you. Everyone's
Oh,
applauding.
yay.
I'm so excited to be back on the air, seeing all my fun names out there. Thank you all so much for coming, and thank you all, my presenters.
Congratulations.
Yay.
Well,
Thank
I'm
you.
excited.
Yeah.
So
Super
much
fun.
fun. We all learned so much, and I really appreciate, as well as I know everyone out there does. Thank you, thank you, thank you, as everyone is saying thank you. So everyone come on over to craftcast.com, and I hope to see you on a class real soon. We have fun. We know how to pate, is what I say.
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, everyone. Good night, and I'll talk to you all soon. Love you guys very
Good night,
much.
everybody.
Good night,
everybody.
everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.